Hello friends, welcome back, and if you're new to our channel, thank you for stopping by. Today here I'm ready with my number 10 crochet hook, as my yarn is a bit thick, and I am going to show you how we can make a beautiful table runner. And my slip knot is ready, and let's chain about 65. I am doing a few extra chains, that is to be on the safe side. So let's continue making our chain. This is a beautiful crochet table runner which can be used, the pattern can be used for other projects as well, like sweaters, jackets, and I am going to show it in very easy steps. So starting off with a chain of 3. Now into the 4th chain space we are working a double crochet. So one double crochet is done. Into the next, let's work a double crochet followed by 7 number of double crochet into each of the chain space. Please keep a count of the number of double crochets that is being worked. Initially I worked a chain of 3, which will also be counted as a double crochet. After that I am working 7 number of double crochet. Let's count. One more to be done, because we need a total of 8 double crochet, that is counting the first chain of 3. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Yes, it's done. Then we are going to chain 2, 1 and 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and into the 3rd chain space let us work a double crochet. So that's neatly done. Let us chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and starting from the 3rd chain space we are going to work our double crochet into individual chain spaces, and that is going to be 13 in number. I've already worked 1. This is the 2nd double crochet. We will be working into individual chain spaces, followed by the 3rd, that's the 4th one, the 5th, now the 6th, the 7th one, this is the first row of the pattern. See, 7 double crochets done. Now let's work the 8th one, the 9th, the 10th, this is the 11th one, that's the 12th, this is the 13th one. Now let's count. We are going to have 13 double crochets. Yes. Once the 13 double crochet is done, let us chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and then work 1 double crochet into the 3rd chain space. Again we are going to chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces. Yes, and then we are going to start off working our 13 double crochet like we just did. This part we are going to work. One is already done, working the second double crochet. That's the third one, followed by the fourth, so we need to work 13 double crochets. Once that is done, see 13 double crochets done. Now I'm going to chain 2 again, skip 2 chain spaces and work 1 double crochet into the chain space. And here I have already worked the chain of 2, skipped 2 chain spaces, and have started working the double crochets, where we need to make 8 double crochets, as this is the other end of the table runner. So here the double crochet is being worked. 3 is already done. This is the 4th one, followed by the 5th, five is done. Now let's work the 6th one, followed by the 7th, that's the 8th one, but we are going to count to be sure. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, yes. So this is how our first row looks. I'm going to chain 3 and turn my work. Please ignore the chains hanging there. After that I just worked 1 double crochet, and this time I will be working 5 number of double crochet into each of the chain spaces. So 5 double crochet plus the first chain of 3 makes 6 number of double crochet. Once we have 6 double crochet, let's chain 2, and then on top of the double crochet, the standing double crochet, we are going to work 5 number of double crochet. Or we can say we will be working a cluster of 5 double crochet. That's the 3rd, the 4th and the 5th. Once done, let us chain 2, and this is the second row of the pattern. We have chained 2, we are going to skip 2 chain spaces, and then into the 3rd chain space we are going to start working double crochet, which will be followed by 8 number of double crochet. So in total we need to have 9 double crochet. So let us keep a count of the double crochets that is being worked. I think 5 is already done. I'll cross check that again. Once our 9 number of double crochet is done, so 9 double crochet is done, 1 3 3 6 and 9, yes. Let us chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and into the standing double crochet we are going to work a cluster of 5 double crochet again. That's the 3rd, the 4th and finally the 5th. So this is how our pattern is turning. Now again it's simple. We are going to chain 2, after that skip 2 chain spaces and work 9 number of double crochet. I just chained 2 and I have reached the end, and there on top of the standing double crochet I am working my final cluster of 5 double crochet. After that we need to chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces and start working individual double crochets, and it has to be 6 in number. That's the second, the third, that's the fourth one, the fifth, and the sixth double crochet has to be into the topmost chain of the very first chain of 3, and this we have to do carefully, otherwise our edges are not going to look good. So my second row is also done. This is how it looks. Actually it's just the repetition of the pattern. So let us chain 3, turn our work, and then we are going to work 3 number of individual double crochet into the individual chain spaces. So 3 double crochet plus the first chain of 3 makes 4 double crochet. Now let us chain 2, and then into the very first double crochet of the cluster I am going to work 5 number of double crochet. So the cluster is being formed into the chain space of the very first double crochet of the cluster. So let's see, 5 double crochet is done. Now we are going to skip, and into the very last double crochet of the cluster we are going to repeat the same process by working 5 number of double crochet. This is the third row of the pattern. Once the 5 double crochet is done, we are going to chain 2 and then skip 2 chain spaces, 1, 2, and into the third we are going to start working our double crochets. It has to be individual double crochet, and we are going to work 5 such double crochets. So this is the third row of the pattern. So 5 double crochet is done. Now we are just going to repeat by working a chain of 2. We are just going to repeat what we just worked. That's chain 2, and then into the very first double crochet of the cluster we are going to work 5 number of double crochet. Our new cluster again. So working the 5 number of double crochet. Once done, see, we are repeating this. Now this we are going to work into this space. Now into the 5th chain space of the previous cluster we are working our 5 double crochet again. Actually, if you look at the pattern also, you'll understand what is to be done next. It is very easy. Once the 5 double crochet is done, we are going to chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and then start working 5 double crochet, individual double crochet. Actually, once we work the first set of pattern, we can just follow that. So my 5 double crochets has been done, and now we need to work the clusters again. So my cluster is also done, and I will show you what is to be done in the end. For that we just need to chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and then start working our double crochet, which has to be 4 in number. That's the third, And the fourth one we have to do carefully because it has to be done into the topmost chain of the very first chain of 3. Now let's chain 3 and turn our work. This is how a pattern looks. Now working the fourth row, after the chain of 3 I just worked 1 double crochet. Now let us chain 2, skip the chain space, and into the very first double crochet of the cluster I am going to work 5 number of double crochet, hence making a fresh set of cluster. That's the third. This is the fourth double crochet followed by the fifth. So the first cluster is ready. Now I am going to jump into this space that is available between the 2 clusters of the previous row, right there, here, and then we need to work a second set of cluster by working 5 double crochet. That's the second, followed by the third, that's the fourth, and the fifth. Yes, now we will be working the final cluster, sorry, for this particular pattern. That's the second, followed by the third. It has to be 5 double crochet. That's the fourth and the fifth. Yes, so our very first set of pattern is done. Now we are just going to repeat. Now let us chain 2, skip 2 chain spaces, and into the chain space, to the third chain space I just worked 1 double crochet. After that it is again easy, chain 2, and then we are going to repeat the pattern by working the clusters. Here I am working my first cluster into the very first chain space, as the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Now we are going to repeat working our second set of cluster as I had shown you in the previous motif. So this is my second set of cluster that I am working. It has to be 5 double crochet. Once that is complete, see, I am working this portion here now. Now into the fifth chain space, let us work 5 double crochet again, thus making our third cluster. So my third cluster is also done. 2 sets of pattern done. Now I'm going to repeat, that is by working a chain of 2 and 1 double crochet, chain of 2 and the pattern, and now we will be working the end. So I just chained 2, skip 2 chain spaces and work 1 double crochet, individual double crochet into the chain space, and the second one has to be into the topmost chain of the very first chain of 3, hence it has to be done very carefully. So our fourth row is also complete. This is how it looks. Now let us chain 3 and turn our work. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work 1 double crochet into the standing double crochet of the previous round, and then into the chain 2 space I am going to work 2 number of double crochet. So we actually worked 3 double crochet plus the first chain of 3, that makes 4 double crochet. Now let us chain 2, and then we are going to hop into the gaps now this time. Let's work 5 double crochet there, thus making a cluster. So my 5 double crochet is done. Now I'm going to show you what next is to be done. Now into this gap we are going to work the second set of cluster by working 5 double crochet. So that is done. My second set of cluster is also ready. Now let's chain 2, and then I'm going to hop into the chain 2 space and work 2 number of double crochet. So my second double crochet is also done. Now on top of the standing double crochet of the previous row, let's work 1 double crochet. So that makes 3, and into the chain 2 space I'm going to work 2 more double crochets. So in total 5 double crochets are neatly done. Now we are just going to repeat the pattern. This pattern we are going to work. So we are just keeping a track of the first pattern and working. Now I just chain 2, and into the gap I am working 5 double crochet, the first cluster for this particular pattern. So my 5 double crochet is done. Now I'm going to hop into that gap and work 5 number of double crochet again. So it's better we count the double crochets that we are working. So my second set of pattern is also almost done. Now I'm going to work a chain of 2 and then 2 double crochet. Into the chain 2 space of the previous row, then work 1 double crochet into the standing double crochet, and again 2 double crochet into the chain 2 space. See, we are just repeating the pattern that we worked some time back. So this is how it looks. We worked the diamonds, then we worked the 5 double crochets. Now we will work the pattern again. That is 2 sets of clusters. That's done. Now let's chain 2, and I'm going to show you what is to be done. Into the chain 2 space, let's work 2 number of double crochet, and then into the chain space of the standing double crochet of the previous round, we are just going to work 1 double crochet, and then into the topmost chain of the very first chain of 3, let's work our final double crochet. So if you count in the edges, we have worked 4 double crochet. That is the first chain of 3 and 3 number of double crochet. Let's chain 3 and turn the work. Now moving on to the next row, I just chained 3. After that I am going to work double crochet, individual double crochet into the next chain spaces. So in total I have already worked 4, and now into the chain 2 space I'll be working 2 double crochet. So in total 6 double crochet is worked, counting the first chain of 3. Now let's chain 2 and hop into this gap in the middle where we are going to work our cluster by working 5 number of double crochet. That's the third, the fourth, and the fifth. So our first set of cluster for this particular round is complete. Now let's chain 2, and then we are going to hop into the chain 2 space and work 2 number of double crochet, and then into each of the chain spaces, 5 chain spaces, we are going to work double crochet, individual double crochet. That's the first, this is the second one, followed by the third, this is the fourth. Anyway, we are going to work individual double crochet into individual chain spaces of the previous row, and then into the chain 2 space working 2 double crochet. So in total we must have 9 number of double crochet. If you count, we are going to have 9 number of double crochet. Now we are going to work our cluster in the middle there. Let's chain 2 to reach to that space, and there we are going to work 5 number of double crochet, thus working a cluster. The cluster is also done. Now we are just going to follow the pattern that we just worked by working the chain of 2 and then working the double crochets as we just did. Now my cluster is also done, and I chained 2, and into the chain 2 space I am working 2 double crochet. That's the second. After that it is easy. Into each of the chain spaces, there we have 3 double crochets there, so into each of the chain spaces we are going to work 3 double crochet, and the final, that is the fourth one, is going to be on top of the topmost chain of the chain of 3. So in total we worked 6 double crochets. Now we are going to start off with the pattern again. Let's chain 3, turn our work. After turning the work, now we are going to work individual double crochet into individual chain spaces. So here I am working individual double crochet into individual chain spaces. After that, into the chain 2 space I am going to work 2 number of double crochet. Now this is again the first row of the pattern. Now if we count the double crochets that we have worked, we have 8 double crochet, and if you remember in the beginning we had worked a chain of 3 and 7 number of double crochet, that makes 8. Now let's chain 2. Now we can just look at our work and follow the pattern, and into the third chain space I am working 1 double crochet. After that, chain 2, and into the chain 2 space I am working 2 double crochet, which will be followed by individual double crochet. That is going to be 9 in number. 9 individual double crochets on top of the individual double crochets of the previous round. It's better we count. So that's the 9th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually 9 double crochet plus 2, that means 9, 10, 11. Now this is the 12th and the 13th. So this particular part of the pattern is done. See, we just repeated. Now let's chain 2, and then we are going to work 1 double crochet into the third chain space. Now let's chain 2 again, and then we are going to hop into the chain 2 space to work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. After that we are going to work 9 double crochets on top of the existing 9 standing double crochet of the previous round. So 9 plus the 2 that we worked initially became 11. This part is easy. We will just be working double crochet on top of the double crochet of the previous row. Actually, the pattern is very easy to follow. Once the first set of pattern is done, we can just look at it and continue working till we get the desired length. Now into the chain 2 space, let's work 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Now if we count the double crochets that we just worked, we made 13 double crochet. I chained 2, and into the third chain space I am going to work 1 double crochet. Let's chain 2 again and then hop into the chain 2 space to work 2 number of double crochet. After that, I am going to work individual double crochet into individual chain spaces. So in total we need to work 7 double crochet plus 1 double crochet on top of the topmost chain of the very first chain of 3. So that makes 8 double crochets. This is the final one, which has to be done carefully because we don't want our stitch there to look very flaky. So this particular step is also complete. This is how our table runner pattern is looking right now. Now we just have to look at the pattern and continue what is to be done next. I have worked 3 sets of diamond. Now if you wish to increase the width, you must increase the number of diamonds. Now I'm going to show you how this extra bit of chain can be removed. Carefully it has to be done. We are not going to pull the stitches or chains tightly because that is going to create problem for us. We are going to do slowly with patience. This is how we do, but working extra chains makes our work easier, because by chance if we have calculated chains which are wrong, suppose, then the extra bit of chain helps us to do our work, or else we have to redo, we have to open it and then redo. So my extra bit of chains also has vanished. Now this is how the pattern looks. It's a beautiful pattern which can be used for table runners, jackets, tunics, anything. Now if you wish to increase the width, as I have been telling you, we have to increase the number of diamonds, and that way our work is going to be increased. And to get the desired length, we are just going to repeat our pattern and we will achieve the length that is required. It's a beautiful crochet pattern. It's a versatile one. It can be used for numerous projects, and this is how it looks. So my friends, I hope you all will find this video useful. Do use this beautiful pattern for your upcoming projects. I have worked 3 diamonds out there. If you wish to, you can increase the number of diamonds and you will get the desired width. So thank you my dear friends for staying till the end. If you all have liked the video, do give a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family members. If you are new to our channel, do consider subscribing and stay tuned for interesting videos. So till we meet again, be safe, be happy. It's bye for today. Bye.